Hello, 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 everybody. I am super excited to be here with you guys again to interview such a wonderful entrepreneur. We're going to be talking to Derrick Videll today. He is the owner of Social Bamboo. Y'all, he is the creator of My Social Launch Formula. So we're going to get to hear all about that today. And he's also the host of two amazing podcasts, Social Media Entrepreneurs and Instagram Marketing Pros, which we'll learn all about that today as well. So, hey, Derrick, how are you?
I'm doing great. I love that intro. You killed that. Was that rehearsed or did you? That was just
right out of the gate. You know us entrepreneurs, we got some things that just comes natural.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for being with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
So here at Market Your Message, I love stories, right? I love to hear about how people began doing what they did. So let's start there. Let's talk about how you started your company and what got you into marketing.
The macroscopic view, at least, is I sold Cutco knives for 7.5 years and realized that I really liked at least working for myself. And then when I was kind of looking to transition out of that, I could either, now take my newly stacked resume with sales experience and see what I could get. And I did check that out, but I really had to go the entrepreneur route and went into e-commerce and then opened the podcast later once I started to figure things out in the e-commerce world and mostly just talking about B2C Instagram marketing strategies. And then, now it just recently expanded into two podcasts. YouTube is a little bit more of my focus. I'm honestly trying to figure out exactly how much to give my time to each one into this next coming year, but it's kind of a fun part as well. But I've been running the Social Media Entrepreneurs podcast for about 4 years now. And it's been mostly based around the social launch formula strategy that I've talked about as far as what I help people with in a paid sense. But otherwise, I've just been coming out with a bunch of organic content with Instagram marketing and interviewing fellow entrepreneurs such as yourself.
Yeah, that's awesome. It sounds like if through your whole journey, you kind of just monetize the skills that you were learning along the way. Like you said, you started. Yeah. I also like how you said you started with the knives because I started with Kirby vacuums.
Okay.
Back in, and so it allows us to really get that foundation. And I think that sometimes people don't realize that is your experience, right? I think sometimes they come into this industry and maybe because they've never worked with someone before in this space, they feel like I can't measure up to other people and they forget, like, wait a minute, you've been doing what you've been doing for a long time. So that's great. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about My Social Launch Formula because I'm really curious to know what's that all about.
Yeah, so in my e-commerce company, we ran ads in so many different ways. We did like ebook funnels to we'll put like a bunch of affiliate marketing links in the ebook, and then that leads to a main offer. Do an ascension funnel where a bunch of upsells in it, or we'll do just store-wide discounts and run just sales, just from the ads. We try to every kind of ad out there. And no matter what we did, the most successful ad campaigns that we ran in terms of just like the ROI as well as the audience that we would gain from it was actually doing giveaways. And it's not like a giveaway most people have seen out there. I know a lot of people have done giveaways where it's like this post, tag 3 friends, share it to your story, right? A bunch of stuff people don't really want to do. And it doesn't work the best. It used to work back when the Instagram algorithm was more hackable and like doing that, like, oh, they tag 3 friends. This must be an amazing post. Let's make it go on the explore page. Like when it was that hackable, it was easier to do, but now it just kind of dies right away. So we do a more simple formula, but we run ads to it so that it's not reliant on the organic reach that doesn't, really exist unless you really crush it with your posts. But we just run ads to a very simple giveaway for the exact offer you're looking to sell. So not for like a Amazon gift card or a MacBook or anything that would be general, just something that only your dream customers would want. And we just do a very simple name and email collection. But then on the next page, it says, you've got one entry. We'll let you know if you want it on the next couple of weeks. But in the meantime, if you'd like to increase your chances to win, you can like our Facebook page, follow us on Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube, fill out the survey, like review our podcast, whatever you want, really, whatever your business is really needing at that time. And because a lot of new businesses really need everything, they're like, I'm brand new on Instagram, I have no emails, I also have no skill set or experience in any of these. They kind of just need like a boost to all of them. So that's why I called it social launch formula. But then when you incentivize this, a lot of people just take you up on all of them. And so that really helps out. And then at the very end, you say, we've got our winner. And then for the 5,000 of you who didn't win, thank you so much for playing as a consolation prize. Here's 25% off our store for the next week, or some kind of offer, right? So then you can round it off with at least giving them some opportunity to get that for a discount, right? So it just kind of wraps everything together. But I just found that it was a very templatable strategy for teaching other businesses to be able to like set up this kind of campaign without getting too fancy.
Yeah, I also like the idea that it's kind of like simultaneously growing your social media, because sometimes businesses feel like, well, I don't have an audience yet, followers yet, and you could kind of like be strategic with getting more results from that strategy. So what would you say are some of the mistakes that people make when they're trying to implement this strategy?
They'll try to just team up with an influencer instead of run paid ads to it. And there's just a lot of sources of error. But even if your influencer is clutch, has the exact audience you want, does the post in the exact way that you collaborate and work together with, it still doesn't do nearly as well. Just like the cost per entry wise, and it's just a lot better, especially if you're like trying to test audiences. You get a lot more conclusive data about which audiences are actually giving you the results when you run ads and you're testing audiences against each other, rather than just, oh, that influencer did well. It also is just not as repeatable of a strategy. There's just a lot less in your control. I've seen it work well to like supplement, but when their whole plan is just to team up with one influencer with like 30K or 50K, there's just, it's not going to go nearly as well.
Yeah, I see that. Okay, so let's shift a little. Well, I guess it's a little pivot over to Instagram. So how does this formula work with an Instagram marketing strategy, or is it just for Instagram?
We only run Facebook and Instagram ads to it. I haven't figured out how to run other ads to it successfully, but it's not really necessary to. You can get enough entries from just that platform, and it just works well on there. So it happens on there. And then of course, like there's the follow you on Instagram. There's a lot of like story posting and things like that you do, but for the most part, you get emails and Instagram followers are the main audiences you build.
All right. So with Instagram marketing, I know that you said you started doing like a lot of organic content on Instagram. And I know a lot of the people who listen to this podcast, they are utilizing organic marketing strategies. So let's talk a little bit about your top tips that you would give somebody who's really trying to grow organically on Instagram.
And is there a pattern with your audience where a lot of them are e-commerce, or is it businesses across the board?
I think it's businesses across the board. My audience are mostly service providers, coaches, consultants, speakers. But then, of course, as service providers, they also have some products, they also have books, so I think it's just business, You
got to figure out a content creation process that works for you. It is really the answer. That I hate to be so broad with it, but I could sit here and tell you, oh yeah, take TikTok trends and use trending audios and then do those reels. Or I could tell you to take YouTube videos and clip them out into reels, or take these interviews and break them down into reels and turn them into collaboration posts. There's so much situational situations to consider when figuring out your perfect strategy. So to boil it down, I'll basically say, figure out how can you at least come out with like a reel a week or a couple reels a week for your Instagram strategy is really what you're trying to figure out. And if you're already putting out a lot of long form content and it's hard for you to then have a lot of creative juices left to still come up with a bunch of reels, that's kind of the state I'm in right now. And I will say, once I delegate more then maybe it'll be easier for me to be able to do that. But right now I'm coming out with 2 podcasts a week for social media entrepreneurs, at least 1 YouTube video a week. And I just got that other podcast going that I want to go like at least 1 a week. So I just like don't come up with reels right now. Like it's just not where my energy is going, but I do have long form content that can be turned into reels, but I also don't have the time to do that. Right. So then scaling that part, like that's what your solution more is. So really the question you're trying to answer is, how can I come up with at least 2 or 3 reels a week? And then what would that look like? And then reels that actually work. So then as you post them, if they're not working, then you might need to switch up your strategy that way. But ultimately, to get a reel to work, it just comes down to 2 major things: the first couple seconds and the last couple seconds. So the first couple seconds is the main thing that translates into watch time, which is the main thing that translates into views. So if you're getting low views, point the finger at the first 3 seconds and engage them. Don't point it out like, oh, I guess the hashtags were bad, or I guess my posting time was off, or I guess
or it's my content.
What the heck? What was that?
Or it's my content, or it's me.
Exactly. All those things would be wrong. You just didn't have a hook at the beginning is really what happened. Or sometimes people will take clips from a podcast where the start of it is like, here's jumping in mid-conversation, and then it ends mid-conversation. And then it's like, what did I just learn? I'm confused. And then it's like, that's where the post is just going to die quickly, and then it's not going to get the engagement. And the engagement is most largely influenced by those last couple seconds. If like the post hit correctly is kind of what I like to say. If they're like, oh yeah, that was good. So you try to find like that bit where it like rounds off the whole point. If it's like educational, right? So that it feels like, okay, I started watching this, and maybe you don't have the hook in your words, but you have the hook like in text, right? Just the first 3 seconds. Did I give them a solid reason for someone who's never met me before, seeing this post for the first time with their best friend's post right below this? Like, did I still get their attention? Like, if you get low views, that's all you should point the finger at. It's going to be the problem most of the time. And then the low engagement, just look at the last few seconds. Like, how could I round that off better? And that's, I think that would make the most impact with the fewest info I could give you.
Yes. Listen, first of all, I hope you guys are listening, because you just got gold. And he just said a whole lot. You know, the first thing that I really got from what you said is that you really need to find what works for you. Because like, there are so many people that would say, well, TikTok is the thing, or Instagram is the thing, Reels are the thing, but you really, really have to figure out like what fits me, my goals, my personality, my lifestyle in terms of time, and just also my desires, right? Like what really is in alignment with me. So that's the first thing, that I got from what you said. And then the second thing is about the hook, like when someone is scrolling nowadays on social media, you have about 1 to 3 seconds to get their attention, right? And a lot of times, most people don't do that well, which is why they don't get the views. And story time. So I started on TikTok lately, right, Derrick? And I've been, trying to play around with like what works, what's my content supposed to be like on TikTok. And so I put out a post, and I got this lady that started commenting and asking a whole bunch of questions. So on TikTok, there's a feature, and I think that it's on Reels too, where you can click the comment and do a video, and the comment would show up on the screen that you're talking about. So I started off and I'm like, oh my goodness, first of all, thank you for asking this question, because I've wanted to do a post like this, but no one comments, for me to be able to do this. And another coach commented and said, we're here. We want to comment over on TikTok. Just ask us some questions, right? And so I'm sharing this because like, I'm a marketing expert too. I know that the call to action, you ask for the engagement, but sometimes you need that reminder, right? Sometimes you need that reminder. A lot of times we are not asking for the action that we want. And that's what you just taught me, right? Is that hook to get attention, and the end to make sure that we're getting the result we want.
It's one of those tips we hear so much that it just turns into a cliche and it goes over our heads. And like, I'm still guilty of this. Like, I'll do a post and I'm like, oh, wait, did you pass by the 2 checks? The only 2 checks that you have to do. And I'm like, no, I didn't. I was like, trending audio, clip is good enough. I got to get a post out. I've been working on this long enough. Right. So like when it comes down to like the actual moment is where the cliches that we hear so much are really easy to forget. But
definitely,
yeah, you're right. They call it to action. So important.
Definitely. So another thing you mentioned was about the whole, you're doing a lot of long form content, which I think a lot of us are used to, because short form is pretty new. Like, we who've been doing business for a long time, we learned with doing long form content like blogs and videos, and you mentioned that with the long form, there's a way that you can break down your long form content to create those reels when you feel like, I don't know how to do trends, and that's something we do. We're doing a lot. Well, we provide that service, but we also do that because I'm like you. I'm like, listen, sometimes I don't have time to create these reels. So there are ways that you could put content strategies in place that will help you still deliver your content. That's basically it, All right. So let's leave everybody with, what are the first 3 things that they could do right now to get started with deploying your social launch? You see that I'm really on that, right? So with deploying the social launch formula.
Yeah, so I turned this into a course. So it's got like a video and an illustrated version with it, where it like shows out the breakdown of like the steps illustrated for you. So that is, if you go to www.socialbamboo.com/free course, it's called How to Build and Monetize a Following in 90 Days or Less. Yeah, it just shows you the exact breakdown of that. And then there's like a video that accompanies it as well. And if anyone can tell me something in this video that like I caught at the end, okay, I filmed this whole video and then I realized, oh my God, I might need to delete this video. And I posted it anyways. No one's pointed it out yet. This is just cliffhanger, right? This is my this is my goal to get you to go watch it. But this is actual thing. So if you actually see what I'm talking about, if you catch the thing in the video that almost made me delete it, but I didn't, and no one's called me out on it in the first like 1,000 views or something, then DM me and tell me, and then I'll delete it.
Oh my, y'all. Okay, now
I'll tell you after we're done recording. Okay, so
yeah. Okay, so what's next? We're going into a new year. What is next for you? What's next for the company? What are we looking forward to next year?
Yeah, I was thinking of starting another e-commerce company, but then I realized I really just wanted to focus on scaling this one and getting Instagram ads going for this offer and just scaling it through other traffic sources and spend at least another year doing that before I take on another business venture. So yeah, I'm making my whole career about, putting out more free content, but then also just helping as many people that want to try to run that strategy as possible.
That's awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much, Derrick, for spending this time with me today. Is there anything else that you want to leave us with?
Just go check out the interview I'm about to do of Nyala on my show tomorrow. Oh, yeah. And it'll be coming out real soon. We might even coordinate days to launch this. I'm not sure. We haven't talked about that yet, but it'll be coming out real soon. So it's on Social Media Entrepreneurs, and I'm going to get the gold out of her.
Thank you so much. All right, guys. So as always, thank you so much for listening to another episode, for watching us. Be sure to continue the conversation inside of the Female Coaches Society, and we'll see you in the next one.